Welcome, everyone. I'm Carl Willis, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Whether you're running a single truck remodeling operation or you are managing multiple crews, one thing that remains constant is that your reputation is your currency in the marketplace. And so today I'm going to show you how to take control of it and how to turn it into a predictable source of leads and revenues. And so I'm glad you've chosen to join us today. And go ahead and grab a pen and paper, get ready to take some notes, and let's dive into our topic. First of all, if you've not been on one of our webinars before, let me tell you a little bit about who I am and maybe why you would want to listen to me. My name is Carl Willis. I am the CEO and founder of Remodeling Marketing Team. I started marketing online back in the days of dial-up around 1997. I'm the author of Internet Marketing for Home Remodeling Companies, co-authored AI Tools for Home Remodelers, creator of the Marketing Classroom. I'm an international keynote speaker on business growth and lead generation, and widely accepted as a go-to expert in internet marketing for home remodeling businesses. And we've worked with companies across the US and, of course, internationally as well. And so today we're going to be looking at this idea of your reputation. And so anytime you hear me talk, you're going to hear me talk about your ecosystem, your marketing ecosystem. And the marketing ecosystem is a big pie. It's got lots of pieces to it. And your reputation is one of those pieces that comes into play. It is really where the referrals come from. It is where the repeat business comes from. It is that word of mouth advertising. It is so valuable. And it's one of the things that if you are a good steward of it, if you leverage it well, it can pay residual value and it can pay dividends for you for many years to come. It can become, of course, one of your most profitable business driving sources overall. And so we're going to talk about how to do that. And of course, we're going to talk about how to do that from a digital marketing aspect, not just traditional belly to belly or word of mouth referral sources, but we're going to talk about really how to do that in the digital environment. How do you take this digital ecosystem and bring this reputation side of things to bear within the digital environment? And so, how do we make that happen within the digital ecosystem? And so, what we're going to learn today is this is the roadmap we'll be looking at. Is first of all, we'll talk about number one, how to get more of those reviews without being pushy and without seeming pushy. And we're going to talk about the importance of those reviews, especially now because the AI side of Google in particular is really pulling from those customer reviews to make recommendations in the search results. And so whether you're using the organic traffic or even the paid traffic, the reviews and the reputation side of your business are going to be super critical to how the AI presents you and whether or not the AI is presenting you in those search results. So we're going to talk about how to get more of those reviews without having to come across as seeming pushy. I'm also going to talk about how to showcase those reviews to where they actually are moving the needle for you on trust and on sales, because we want to make sure that as you get those reviews, they are driving momentum for you in your business. We'll also be looking at the search visibility aspect that I was alluding to and how that Google's AI is really looking at the customer experience as part of its ranking factors, and not just the ranking factors. If you watched last month's webinar, I talked about the migration from search engine to answer engine, where Google is actually giving you it's actual recommendations based on the intent of your search and how it's using reviews as part of that. And then I'm going to give you a 30-day game plan that you can actually start rolling out to put this into practice and use your reviews to drive more business into your company. And so let's talk about this trust currency. When we talk about reviews, I want you to think about this as currency. This is really the monetary system of the online economic system that we're in today. And trust is the factor that we are monetizing back and forth. And so think about the last time you hired somebody without checking reviews. Well, you probably haven't done that. You want to know a little bit about the person before you bring them on board. Well, the same is true for your future clients. They're doing the exact same thing. And what we're finding statistically is about 93% of people read reviews before they ever call you. And so that's the vast majority of people. They're going to go down those reviews. They're going to read through them before they call. And over half of those individuals are not going to engage with anyone that has less than 4 stars. So that's a critical point that we want to pay attention to. So keep an eye on where you're at and what you need to do to keep that momentum going in those star rankings. And if you don't control your reviews, what's going to happen is those reviews are actually going to end up controlling your growth. And that's not what you want to see happen. Again, if you go back to the webinar from last month, and I encourage you to watch that. If you didn't get a chance to watch it already, it's on YouTube. One of the things you're going to find is that when Google's AI pulls its recommendation, it will actually allude to the fact that consumers mention the fact that ABC Remodeling does X, Y, and Z. Consumers actually report this type of satisfaction with, ABC Remodeling. So it's actually going to pull a synopsis of what your consumers are saying, and it's going to put that out there in front of your prospective customers. So you really want to pay attention to what is the flow of that trust currency that's being generated in this review and reputation generation cycle that's coming from your existing customer base. Now, remember this, this is a critical piece that people often forget in the sales cycle. Emotion is the driver behind decision. People buy on emotion and then they support the decision with logic. Logic comes in to justify the gut feeling, but the decision is ultimately made on emotion. So the 5-star review from Lisa in Denver, that's an emotional trigger. Somebody sees that, they get an emotional response to that. But if they see a 1-star rant, even if it's unfair, fear starts to creep in. It creates an anxiety bias in the mind of that homeowner. And so that is something we have to be aware of. Now, think about this too. If there are no reviews, that is also creating an anxiety response in the psychology of the homeowner. So what we want to stay away from is fear triggers, because when you think about what causes a person to take action, avoiding pain or avoiding fear is one of the number one motivators. But the response to avoiding pain and avoiding fear is to flee. It's to either flee or fight. And that's not where you want your prospective customer to be. You don't want them running from you. And you also don't want them blading themselves and getting ready to go into combat with you. You want them to have a good, positive feeling as they enter into that conversation with you. And so we want to make sure that we are putting good reviews in front of them to inspire them, to excite the imagination, to get them excited about the opportunity to work with you. And we have to remember that bad or missing reviews trigger skepticism, fear, and anxiety. And it's also important to remember that the buying journey somebody takes today may be different than what you are assuming it looks like, because this is really what the path looks like today. A prospect sees an ad, then they Google you. And here's kind of the breakdown. What a lot of business owners think is they see my ad and they go to my website and they make the decision. That's not really what happens. When we watch analytics from advertisement to the point of contact, this is really what the buyer journey looks like. The prospect sees the ad, then they Google you, then they go and they check your reviews, and then maybe they visit your site, and from there they go to your social media, and then they call or submit a form. So, what needs to happen, and this is again why you hear me talk about the ecosystem all the time, you need to be everywhere that they are going to go. And you need your reviews doing the heavy lifting for you in all of those places. So, if they're going to search you out, you're going to show up on Google. So, you need to make sure you've got reviews on that Google business profile. If they're going to visit your website, then you probably want to have testimonials and reviews very highly visible and accessible on the website. If they're going to be checking out your social media, then you want to feature reviews and testimonials on your social media. You've got to think about the buyer's journey. Where are they going to go? What do they need to see? What do you need to be reinforcing as they go on this journey to reinforce the positive feelings that they have about you and your company? Remember, they're going to make their decision based first on emotion, and then they're going to support that decision with logic. And so we want to make sure that they are feeling good about the decision to contact you and move forward in this process. Now, when do you ask for reviews and how do you ask for reviews? And this is where a lot of contractors stumble. They either forget to ask for the review or they wait and they ask for the review too late. So the best time to ask for that review is right after the job is done and the client is excited, because back to emotions. We want to get people when their emotions are at their highest, when they're at their peak. So think about, home improvement television shows. Why do they do a reveal and then record it? Because they want to capture the peak of excitement. That's good television. Well, that's also good reviews for you. That's good reputation for you. You want to use the same principle. Think about creating good publicity for yourself. Capture people at the height of their emotion. And the height of their emotion is when that job is completed and they are just in awe of the work you've done and they can't wait to enjoy it. They can't wait to show it off to friends and family. They are so excited about the transformation that you've created in their home. Now, here's a pro tip for you. Use a QR code or a review link to make things easier. One of the things that we recommend is create a QR code. One of the things we do for our clients is we create QR codes for them. We encourage them laminate that, keep that in a notebook, a folder, in your truck, keep it somewhere handy. So when you're right there on site, you can just put that QR code right there in front of the client, ask them to snap a picture of it so it pulls up your review spot. They can leave the review right there on the scene. You also can create a custom QR link that you can send out with your invoice, or you can send out in a text. That's another way to do it. But you want to keep this as easy and frictionless as possible. Make it as simple as possible with as few as steps as possible. I really like the QR code because you can do it in the moment while people are excited. And you can stick that QR code right in the middle of your client's project space, their living room, their kitchen, their bathroom, in front of the home. You could put that, you could stage it, and make that part of what you're doing. Just kind of adds to the excitement. It adds to that emotional process as part of your closing up that project. Now, here's a sample script that you could actually use. If you had a good experience with us, would you mind sharing that on Google? It helps other homeowners just like you find us. Keep it simple, but use that type of wording. Would you mind sharing that on Google? Would you mind leaving us a quick review? But then this last piece is going to be critical because you want to anchor into their experience, but kind of fuel that philanthropic side of the equation. It'll really help other homeowners like yourselves find us. It'll help other homeowners have a great experience as well. Help seed that idea. Again, we're working with emotions. We're helping them feel good, paying it forward, doing a good deed. So tap into the emotional side of that referral and that review. Now, you can also bring automation to bear. And of course, I'm a huge fan of automation. So automate the ask. You're busy, your team is busy, and that's where automation can come in. You can use tools like Podium, Nice Job, Bird Eye that will let you queue up review requests. And you can do that via text or email automatically. And then what's going to happen is those will just go out in an automated basis. And that way you're systematizing this process so that the trust building takes place automatically, so it happens without you having to think about it and remember. And so that can also be helpful. I still like the personal touch. I believe we're in a world where so much is automated that sometimes you get a competitive advantage by going that extra step and being a little more personalized. Now, you can use automations to remind you, oh yeah, I need to ask for that. But I still think that gives you a competitive advantage today. But if you're slammed and you're not going to do it if you don't have the automation in place, by all means, use the automation. It will still get the job done. But what I find is if you put a little extra personal touch there, especially if you are a higher end remodeler and you are going for higher end projects, that extra personal step just carries a little more weight. It just puts that one last personal touch on the transaction and carries a little more value, and I think gets a little more mileage for you. Just my own opinion. You may think differently. You got to do what works best for you. Now, once you've got those reviews, it's not enough just to get the review. You've got to leverage this review. And this is really the crux of what we're talking about today. Not just getting the review, but turning this review into some real high octane fuel to drive your business, to drive new business, new revenue into your remodeling company. And what you want to do here is you want to showcase these reviews, because collecting the review is just the first step. What you want to do next is you want to showcase those reviews. You want to show them off. You want to demonstrate your best work. So demonstrating your best work isn't just showing your projects, it's showing how satisfied your customers really are. And so now you want to put these reviews where they matter. Put them on the homepage of your website. Put them on your Google business profile. Put them all over your social media. Put them inside videos or photo galleries. Think about each one of these 5-star reviews as being a billboard, so you want it everywhere you possibly can have it. And you also want to think about even video as part of this. Video testimonials are gold mines. And so if you can get that homeowner to leave you a 2 or 3 minute video testimonial, that's even more powerful because you can put that into your advertising rotation. You can use that as a Facebook short, Facebook reel, Instagram reel, YouTube short. You can get so much mileage out of that. And video is just powerful. People prefer video over anything else these days online. So don't forget to even ask, hey, thanks for the review. Would you mind if I just turn the camera on here for a second and would you leave me a quick testimonial? Don't be afraid to ask for those testimonials. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of that. But let's talk about one of the things that's happening here, and this is so critical. Reviews are really pushing search engine optimization these days. And like I alluded to at the beginning of the webinar and in last month's webinar, there's a shift from what's called search engine optimization to answer engine optimization. And AI has really been what's driven that because Google is moving to what's called a zero-click search result. What they're trying to do is when you make a search, is they want to give you the answer you're really looking for instead of you having to go through a lot of links and websites to figure out the answer yourself. And so here's what reviews are doing to really help SEO. Google's local ranking algorithm gives weight to 3 factors in particular: review count, review freshness, and review keywords. And so I want to talk about this a little bit to kind of flush this out for you. So when a client uses keywords in a review, for example, they say best bathroom remodel in Austin, that's golden because they've just used a set of search keywords in their review. And so it is keyword rich. And Google will actually index that review as part of its search optimization process, and it will tie you to that review. That is like putting nitrous oxide in the fuel tank of your dragster. It just boosts it to the ridiculous. So one of the things we encourage you to do when you're asking your customers for reviews is ask them to write a little paragraph about the services that you did for them. ABC Remodeling came in and did an amazing renovation on the master bathroom at our home. It is now a sanctuary and an oasis, blah, 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 blah. What you've done is you've just loaded that review up with keywords that Google can now index, that the AI can now pull. But the other piece about that is the AI is also going to see that's a positive review. And when the AI gives answers about ABC remodeling, it's going to point out that customers love the type of work that they do because of some of these factors, because your customers have given more information than just ABC remodeling did a great job. We want more than that. We need some narrative. The narrative is going to give the algorithm more to work with. And so you want to prompt your clients, hey, write us a couple of sentences about the kind of work that we did, if you don't mind. So in your review, if you would talk about the fact that we did a bathroom renovation or a kitchen remodel and just some of the work that we did in that project. And what you're going to find is you're going to get a better review because those reviews are more in depth. Remember, the prospective customer is looking for things that excite the imagination and give them a sense of confidence. They're going to get a greater sense of confidence when they read a more robust review as opposed to ABC Remodeling did a great job. And then it's going to give the search engine more to work with. And then, of course, quantity of reviews, the number of reviews, plus the recency of reviews, how recent are they, and how relevant are they, are what really drives search engine rankings. And then, of course, frequency. How frequent are you getting those reviews? So, if your last review was 9 months ago, that's not as good as if you're getting a review every 3 to 4 weeks. And so, frequency is critical as well. Always be asking for reviews. And what this is going to do is going to drive visibility in the map pack. It's going to bring you up in those local rankings. And then, of course, we've been talking about this all through this webinar and, of course, the previous webinar, is the AI footprint era. And you have to understand the AI footprint. Google's new Gemini AI is not just reading your website anymore. It's actually reading your entire digital footprint. It's looking at your whole online presence and making an evaluation of that presence. So this is going to include your reviews, your Better Business Bureau listing, your Instagram, even your YouTube videos. And if you're not visible, you're actually invisible. And if your story is not being told well across all platforms, AI doesn't trust you. Let me say that again. If you're not telling your story well across all platforms, AI doesn't trust you. And the problem is Google's AI is determining who gets seen and who doesn't get seen. And you may say, well, that's not fair. You're right, that's not fair, but that's the way the system works. And so Google's AI is evaluating your total online presence. And reviews, as I've said before, are one of the primary drivers that are influencing how you show up in the generative AI search results. More than any other thing that we're seeing in the footprint, it is probably the number one factor is what are your actual customers saying about you and how much are they saying about you. Then the secondary piece of that is what does the rest of your footprint look like? Build your digital footprint across your platforms and the ones that we're going to encourage you to focus on. What we're seeing with the generative AI is it's looking at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube in particular. So if you're going to focus anywhere, that's where you want to focus, are those places and then your Google business profile. So bear in mind, Google loves Google. Google owns YouTube. Google owns Google Business Profile, Google Maps. And then, of course, Google's not going to ignore Facebook and Instagram or LinkedIn because of their significance in the culture and the overall marketplace. You also want to turn your reviews into content because content is what's going to drive your authority. One of the terms you'll hear me talk about quite often now is topical authority. What AI is looking for in terms of search significance is topical authority. Are you the topical authority in your location on this particular subject matter? So if it's kitchen remodeling, are you the go-to expert for kitchen remodeling in your community? And so one of the things you want to do is turn reviews into content. So we will want to get every last drop of value out of every single review that we get. So use them in social posts. You want to put those into email campaigns so you get a good review, put it into a social post. You want to quote those reviews in your email campaigns. You want to turn those into short testimonial videos. You want to feature those as quotes in your blogs or on your service pages. This is how you exponentially multiply the reach of every happy customer. Don't just post that review in one place and hope for the best. Multiply that thing, leverage the daylights out of that sucker, squeeze every last ounce of juice out of that review that you can. Post it as many places as you can, repurpose it as many places as you can. Now, along the way, you're going to get some bad reviews. So, what do you do with those? Because we've all had tough clients, and at some point, a bad review is going to come along, or you get a competitor who just wants to play dirty. So, what do we do with bad reviews? Well, here's the playbook. Number one, respond and respond quickly. Um, One of the things Google is looking for is how quickly do you respond? It's a trust factor. So respond quickly, but respond calmly and respond publicly. And when you respond, offer to resolve the issue privately. So in your response, I'm sorry this was your experience. We would love to talk with you further to help you come to a positive resolution with the issue that you have raised here. Please give us a call at this number. And if need be, follow up with a second response if it's fixed and discuss the fact that this problem has been rectified. Remember, how you respond actually matters more than the review itself. Most people understand that you're not going to get perfection 100% of the time. Most people understand that somewhere along the way, somebody's going to be unhappy with something. What they're more interested in is how do you, as a business owner, take care of your customers? How do you respond when things don't go 100% right? And that's what they're watching. That's what they're paying attention to. Remember, people make decisions first with emotion, and then they support it with logic. So follow up with that second response if it's fixed. And then just remember that the way you respond is more important than the actual review itself. Now, let's take a look at a little case study snapshot here. So, you have a client here that had just 12 reviews and zero visibility in the map pack. That's the local search listings. So what we focused on was helping them increase the number of reviews. And the way we did this is we worked on what's called a database reactivation. So we worked their database and just sent out emails that said, hey, you're a previous customer. We would love to have you leave us a review. We're trying to really bolster our online presence. And what we did is we focused for 60 days on database reactivation, and then we had them work out in the field and internally on also focused activity asking for reviews. So we helped them get up to 58 reviews during that 60-day period. And what would you know? The visibility increased. So after that, qualified calls went up, close rate improved, and revenue increased because they saw a 32% increase in lead volume. It works because it builds trust. As you increase your trust, as you increase your relevance, your visibility is going to increase as well. And that's what's critical. And as your visibility increases, your lead flow increases because people have already bought into you. They've already made that decision. They've already done their research. Your close rates are going to improve, which means revenue will ultimately increase. So we wanted to give you something that you could work with here. A 30-day review challenge. It's an action plan for you. And over the next 30 days, here's what we're going to work on is helping you get new reviews. 15 new reviews in the next 30 days. And what we want you to do is share those reviews on 5 platforms and then record 3 quick video testimonials with your best clients. So set a goal, track it, and make it a part of your weekly rhythm. So let me lay out the challenge for you again. Over the next 30 days, I want you to aim to get 15 new reviews. So get those reviews from your past clients, get those reviews from people who have worked with you before, people who know your work. Get 15 new reviews, good quality reviews. Have them write a couple sentences about you. Once you get those reviews, share those reviews on 5 channels: website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. You choose the channels. And then choose 3 of your best customers and ask them to record video testimonials for you. Get those 3 video testimonials and also share those video testimonials on your 5 platforms. And then work to make this a regular rhythm every 30 days. Now, that being said, I want to invite you to schedule a strategy session with us. If we can help you grow your business, here at Remodeling Marketing Team, we love working with home remodeling companies. That's all we do. And so if you're ready to grow your remodeling business, we'd love to talk with you. Feel free to schedule your 90-minute strategy session. It is complimentary. It's a 2-step process. First, you'll have a discovery call, 15-minute call, get some basic information so we can do some due diligence. And then we'll do the strategy session where we'll actually review your entire landscape, do an audit of everything you have in place, make some recommendations to you. And whether or not you choose to work with us, you've got that information to help you move forward. This will show you where your biggest gaps and your biggest opportunities are. And so be sure and book your spot now. You can do that at remodelingmarketingteam.com/get-started, or you can call us at 888-572-8758. That being said, if you've got any questions, we'll open it up for just a moment or two here. And if you've been struggling to ask for reviews or want to know how to deal with some negative reviews, here's your opportunity to ask to make sure that your reviews are actually working for you. All right, doesn't look like we have any questions today, so I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us, and look forward to having you on our next webinar. And we'll talk to you again soon. If you're not already a subscriber, be sure and tune in to the Digital Remodeler podcast. We have new episodes dropping every Friday, anywhere that you get your podcast content. And we also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.